No one likes to be kept waiting, and it's no different in a contact center. The time spent waiting to be served will be the first impression you present to the customer. And if customers are required to wait, well, things don't always go smoothly. It goes without saying that the longer we keep customers waiting, the grumpier they are likely to become. Given that you've probably had to wait for an agent yourself at one time, you know why waiting can be irritating. How long will you have to wait? Do you take your chances and hold for a little longer, or hang up and try again later? There was a global study conducted on wait time. How long do you think companies keep customers waiting on the phone before answering, on average? The global average time to answer a call is just 28 seconds. That's the average. Yes, sometimes it'll take longer, but it also means that there are many times when calls are answered much quicker. This is what customers are expecting from you. That's why average speed of answer, or the average time it takes to answer a customer's call, is a key measure in every contact center and can often be tied directly to customer satisfaction. Your organization has a goal of being able to answer a certain percentage of calls in a certain amount of time. For example, answering 80% of the calls in 20 seconds. This is called a service level, and it's important for you to be aware of your organization's service level in this area. Service levels will be different based on a company's positioning in the marketplace, the industry, or the type of contact center. They will also be different based on the customer contact channel. And while we're going to be talking about the voice channel in this module, the same requirement for responsiveness applies to all channels. There are a number of things that impact whether or not we're able to answer a customer's call and meet our service level. We're going to look at 4 key drivers of wait time: the number of customers calling at the same time, how long we talk to customers, the time it takes to finish up after a call, and, of course, how many agents are available to serve customers. Let's learn a little bit more about each of these. First of all, let's talk about the number of customers calling us. If we're working alone and one customer called us every 15 minutes or so, we could probably handle the volume. But we know that customers don't call on our schedule. They're going to call us whenever they want. And so, what would happen if these same customers called us all at once? You would definitely be challenged to answer them all in a timely manner. Call volume is a major driver of longer wait times. The more spread out the calls, the easier it will be for us to handle them. The more concentrated the call volume, the more challenging it will be. The time from when a customer first comes into the queue until the time their call is answered is called average speed of answer, and we want this to be as short as possible. Over time, patterns will emerge. For example, you may have higher volume at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning and lower volume at 10 a.m., and then an increase again at noon. The pattern for Tuesday may be different, as will the pattern be for July versus December. Or, the day after you send out a statement or have a promotion or a systems upgrade, volume will likely go up. And so you can see how predicting volume can be a challenge, and how important understanding volume patterns is to meeting service levels. If these customers only spoke to us for 90 seconds each, we might be okay. But if each call was 20 minutes long, you can see how things would back up pretty quickly. We call this average talk time, or the average length of each call. There will be times when we will have some work to do after the customer has hung up, like process a transaction or enter information into our customer database. We call this after-call work. If we combine the time it takes to speak with a customer, or average talk time, and include the time needed to finish up the customer request, or after-call work, we can see the actual time it takes to handle that one single customer inquiry. We call this average handle time. The last variable is how many agents are available to serve customers. And so, if we take into consideration how long it takes us to complete a call and the number of calls we have coming in at that particular time of day, then we can make sure we have the right number of agents to meet our service levels, right? Sounds easy enough? Well, not so much. It typically takes a lot of experience from someone who is very good at math, a bit of technology, and an enormous amount of historical data to figure this out. The end result is a prediction of how many agents are required to serve customers in a given 1-hour period in order to meet your service levels, taking into consideration historical volume, average handle time, plus time off for lunch, training, meetings, vacation, and other things. We don't want too many agents, or they will be sitting around just waiting. And we certainly don't want too few, or the customers will be sitting around just waiting. We need to predict just the right number. Every element of this is tracked and reported. Okay, this is all very interesting, but what does it have to do with you? Let's take a look at an example. It's 10 a.m. on Thursday, and given the expected call volume and average handle time, your staffing plan may look like this. In order to meet our service level of 80% of the calls answered in 20 seconds or less, we need to have 42 agents logged in and ready to take calls no later than 10 o'clock. But what happens to service levels if only 3 people are a few minutes late logging in? With only 39 agents available, the time the customer has to wait, the average speed of answer, goes from 20 seconds to over 2.5 minutes. Now, you might say waiting a few minutes isn't very long, but it can seem like an eternity if you're the one waiting on hold. The same is true throughout the day as you return from a scheduled break or lunch. Your adherence to the schedule matters. Every minute you're late impacts the ability for your entire team to meet the service level. And so, what happens if you don't answer the calls in a timely manner? Well, some customers will continue to hold, and they may not be very happy about it when you finally do answer. And then you'll have to deal with an upset caller from the outset. Some customers will simply hang up. We call these abandoned calls. Sometimes they'll call back at another time. In other cases, they will simply go elsewhere. In sales, they represent lost opportunities. In service, they represent a failure to support the customer. Either way, we want to control the number of abandoned calls as much as possible. At this point, you're probably saying to yourself, okay, I get it, but I can't personally control these things, and that may be true in some cases. But the one thing you can most definitely control is making sure you show up on time with the right attitude and skills, ready to serve your customers. You have the ability to impact service levels, one way or the other. When you and your team members adhere to the schedule, it makes things better for everyone. Be at your post when you are needed the most.